but wow, it's hard to describe the feeling to have you all, your smiling faces. Most of you, I can see your faces. So anyway, thank you so much. Welcome to those who are returning to us, and also to, I think, quite a few new folks who we welcome to the family. And would you new folks please stand up for us so we can see you and then welcome you at our break. Yay! Wow! I'm told we have about four new folks who have come to us from Littleton Corral, Voices West, to join several 5 or 6 others that we've had here for a while. So welcome to all of you. After rehearsal today, we'll have just a time where we will do some questions and answers, and if returning people or new people have questions, we'll be around for maybe a half hour or something to do that. So
questions are free, but answers are a quarter apiece.
Very expensive, right? Just a quick note, and we'll maybe talk about this a little bit later. We have our take note sheet, and I'm hoping everyone has gotten a copy of that. There's lots of detail on there about our contact information, our dates, which we very carefully put tentative in front of, because we're kind of taking a week at a time, aren't we? And remaining optimistic, we have some dates set for a couple social things. We have some tentative concert dates, but we're going to say stay tuned as we get into our session and things become more definite, hopefully. So, without further ado, oh gosh, oh, there you are. Okay, Jamie, I have a very important introduction to make. Many of you probably remember our friend Nikki Krause, who brought us to South Suburban several years ago, and now we have the very good fortune to work with Jamie Lopeman, who is here now as our liaison for South Suburban. Nikki went to Broomfield a few months ago, and Jamie has just been terrific. She's just kicked in and made all of this happen magically. So we're very happy to have her with us. Do you care to say anything, Jamie? Or?
I just want to say I'm really excited to have all of you here, and I'm looking forward to hearing all of your beautiful voices.
Yeah, so she's got to sit in for see what it's all about. So anyway, I'll turn it over to our conductor and artistic director, Brian Letterman.
Go on with you now. So, yes, the new shoulder. Jim Schwab got one. Now yours is yours a reverse, or yours is regular?
Regular, straight up.
So his is regular, mine's reverse. Same surgeon. Armodius Hatzidakis, the best in the area. So, stand as you're able. For our new folks, we begin with some physical and vocal warm-ups. So I want you to reach up and grab a big ball off of a high shelf. And now I want you to holler across the room to a friend, holler their name. And would you throw the ball back and forth to them? All righty. Good. I see no bleeding, so evidently you did a good job. Would you turn to your right, and if your neighbor wishes, give them a massage. Remember those heavy muscles along the back of the spine.
If it's too much for you to handle, I understand.
Switch around the other way and get revenge.
Thank you, sir.
Okie dokie. We talk a lot about your 6 points of balance. If you'll imagine your foot, behind your big toe, which would technically be this, but then your foot would really look strange. Behind your big toe, the ball, and behind your pinky toe, the ball, and your heel. So your weight should be evenly distributed on both of those little tripods. A lot of us tend to favor one or the other. So you want the weight evenly distributed. It's perfectly acceptable and in fact recommendable that you have one foot slightly in front of the other, but get the weight evenly distributed on those two areas. Mr. Torstad, good morning, how are you?
Oh, pretty good, thank you.
By golly, you betcha, by golly. So anyway, then are your knees a little bit flexed? And are your hips over your ankles? Tall pelvis. And your shoulders should be over your hips. If I were to take and draw an imaginary line from the bridge of my nose back through my head, and another imaginary line from ear to ear, they would at some point cross, right? And that is the top of your spinal column. Believe it or not, it is that high up in your cranium. And your head is sitting on top of your spinal column on the atlas and occipital joint. So that's what allows you to do all these things with it. And we want as much distance between the AO joint and your hips as possible. And it's not a rigid thing, it's not a stiff thing, I like to think of your head as a balloon and it's floating and it lifts you up, okay? So that idea of elevation rather than any kind of stiff, rigid, military sort of feeling. Not that at all. That's not what we want. I would like you to, if you're comfortable standing and closing your eyes, please do so. If not, keep your eyes open. But as you inhale and exhale, I just want you to think of some things about your breathing. Become aware of your breath and how it is entering and exiting your body. And what is it doing as it enters and exits your body. Remember that breathing moves from the top down. As you inhale, the air fills the top of your lungs first and then gradually filters down to the bottom of your lungs. It is not like filling a glass, which fills from the bottom up. The air fills from the top down. And when you exhale, the air leaves the top of your lungs first, and then eventually the air at the bottom of your lungs. We talk about supporting from the diaphragm. The diaphragm is a very weak muscle. All it does is keeps your lungs and your digestive organs separate, okay? But when you breathe deeply, your digestive organs will drop out of the way. That's why your tummy comes out. It's because they're getting out of the way to make room for your lungs to fill deeply. We tend to, especially here in America, breathe very shallowly, okay? Especially when we speak. And so I will be constantly encouraging you to use more air, more air. It solves most of the problems. And then as you continue to breathe, would you just be aware of whether you're using your swallowing muscles or not? You should not be using your swallowing muscles when you breathe. Okay. If I said open your mouth and take in a big breath of air, do so. Okay. Exhale. Do it again as fast as possible. Go. Now, if it made any sound, you're using your swallowing muscles. Okay. Exhale. Breathe in very quickly without making sound. Go. Okay. The more open your throat is, A, your breath will be silent. B, you're not going to be drying out your vocal cords as much. Okay. In this climate, we dry them out a lot, so it's good to have water here. But anyway, would you put your hand on your forehead? And would you hum and chew? Okay. If we called that the middle of your range, could you go up higher in your range? Now, for most of you, your resonance right now is very high and forward. If it isn't, direct it higher and forward. And make sure that you've got a lot of space in your mouth. Now keep that high, forward, and spacious feeling and hum and chew in your low register. Good. We tend to, when we get in our low register, to forget about this high, forward, spacious resonance, which is, this is your amplifier as a singer, not this. Okay? We want this to be the amplification system. Good. Woo! And when I do that gesture, please do the gesture with me as you're physically able, because it helps relax the body, relax the throat, and it's got a purpose. Let's do number 4, Cindy. No, 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 with a very round ooh, and would you pretend that you're smoothing out a sheet? As you go higher, you'll need to drop the jaw. Let's do number 13, Cindy. I would like a dee-do, dee-do, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee, dee-do, dee-do, dee-dee-dee. And would you add this? Would you add this? You're just going to brush your cheeks, brush lightly up. And the purpose of this is to relax the face, to remind you to keep the jaw and the cheeks and the mouth relaxed. Corners in. Stop. Wrong way. Dee-do, dee-do, dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. The 3rd grade E. Or the 2nd grade E, right, Grace? So I always told the kids, and I taught elementary school for 29 years of my 30 years of teaching. And I always, when I got the 4th graders, I said, no, we don't make 3rd grade E's anymore. We make 4th grade E's. Where were we? Cindy, let's do number 20. Now, is D D D D D D D. I shut my book. Now, this is going to be a little hard for you to see, but what I'm going to do, just watch my body. D D D D D D D D do 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 do. Now, what bent on my body was only my knees. Don't do this. Do not torque your back. So keep from your shoulders to your knees in a straight line. And all you're going to do is just bend your knees and dip back a little bit. If you want to, you can pretend you're on a roller coaster. Now say, well, why do you want me to do that? I'm glad you asked. As we do these gestures, the gestures are to keep you physically loose and relaxed. And also, as this is a range extension exercise, and as we go higher, some people start to be concerned about the altitude to which they have risen. And this is to distract you so that you don't get in your voice's way. Because if you don't get in your voice's way, it'll go pretty much anywhere we want it to go, unless we go,
I'm an alto, I can't do that.
to which I respond, that is BS. Which stands for beautifully simple. Oh, so it's D D D D D D D D do 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 do. Got that? Maybe I'll remember. And D D D and make the eyes get real big. Would you look for Let There Be Song? While you're looking for that, you probably are aware that we're moving our performing time to the month of November because it has become basically impossible to get into a venue in the month of December. And so because we're going to be singing before Thanksgiving, we thought it might be good to have a few non-holiday songs. And I saw this one, and I thought, well, this makes a lot of sense for us right now, since it's been so long since we've been able to sing communally. So it's fun. You go to Dave and Jean Perry's website, and they talk about a power couple. They're both retired now, but he was a high school choir director. She was an elementary music teacher, and they have published so much music, hundreds and hundreds of pieces. I think I saw something like 400 pieces in print. You know, but cool stuff. We're going to start right at the beginning. Now, this is a three-part mix. So, part 1 will be sopranos, part 2 will be altos, and part 3, which doesn't start until we get to page 5, will be the tenors and the basses, basically in unison. At some point, there is a split for the tenors and basses, and we'll do that. So we're going to start right at measure 7, And Cindy's going to play parts. Okay? Oh, right. Well, let's just see. How many of you are brand new to reading sheet music?
One over there, Brian.
Kiddo. So, basically, yeah, Dan, right, yeah. So, real quickly, it's interesting, this song begins on page 3. Some songs, the first page of music is 1. This is because 1, 2. All right, anyway, so we navigate by saying the page, the system, and the measure. And then, if necessary, the beat. So, systems. If you look at the top of the first page of music, page 3, you'll notice there are 2 staves. These 5-line jobbies are called stabs or staves. And then you'll notice this fancy little bracket here. And that's the accompaniment. Now, the reason the bracket is so fancy is because pianists demand it.
We do.
It's in the union contract. We get the fancy bracket. And what the fancy bracket says is now these 2 staves are moving together in time. Anytime you put a bracket across a bunch of staves, like if you look at a full orchestral score with like 30 staves, that bracket along the left edge tells you, okay, they're all moving at the same time. Then if there's a break in between like that, then we know we're going to a new staff or system or score. Those are all interchangeable words. If I say top score or middle score or bottom score or staff, or, you know. Then within those systems, well, I'm ahead of myself. Now, if you look down below that first system, down to the second system, now we've got 4 stabs that are all linked together. We, as mere singers, only get this very plain, boring bracket. And of course, the pianist continues to get their fancy schmancy bracket. But now all 4 of these are moving together in time. And then each of the stabs is divided up with these vertical lines, which mark off measures or bars. Measures or bars are interchangeable. And those lines are called bar lines. I've never heard them called measure lines. Don't know why. So, the way we get around in this score to find ourselves when we need to stop is either measure numbers or sometimes rehearsal letters. It just depends on what the publisher wanted to do. My question for you is, what is the first word in measure 37? And what is the last word in measure 37? And of course, I might say, okay, folks, let's go to page 7, top system, and let's start at measure 39. Or I might just say, maybe there is no 39 there. Now, conveniently, there's a 39 there because that's an important spot in music. But I might say, let's go to the top of 6, the 3rd bar, or the 4th bar, or whatever. Then there's also a little thing called pickups. Let's see where's a good place with a pickup.
Measure 31. Yeah, 31.
Yeah, okay, so find box 31, measure 31, and there are a couple of notes there right before measure 31. So those are called a pickup because they lead into the downbeat of the next measure. Okay, so if I say the pickup. Now, there is no such thing as a dumb question in this group. Okay? There are smart alecky answers. But no such thing as a dumb question. So if you don't know what the heck's going on, the worst thing you can do is ask your neighbor. Because that's when I get pissed off. You know, because if we're trying to, there should be one voice in the room, okay? Mine. But no, if you've got a question, please ask, because guess what? Somebody else in the room has that same question, and they're too chicken to ask it. So, don't be shy. Ask the question. And I promise not to be too snide with my answers. Unless it's Dan. Then I'll just be totally smart. All right. Sopranos and altos, right where you come in before measure 8. And 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, off. 1, 2, off. And 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And I think it's interesting that it's in unison until the word harmony. And thank you for not singing harmony. We are not in Nashville. Harmony. Let harmony, let harmony. A neutral schwa syllable. Okay, tenors and basses, you're joining us at the measure 423. And 1. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4, off. 2, 3. 2, to a tutorial about how to mark your score, okay? But I will tell you this one right now. I've decided we've been doing a lot of mezzo forte and forte, so I want to come clear down to mezzo piano here, MP. So for those of you who don't know what these mean, mezzo forte is strong, okay? We in America tend to say loud, but a better translation of the word forte is strong, okay? Mezzo forte is moderately strong. Mezzo piano, moderately quiet. I do not like the word soft. Soft is like your sweetheart's cheek, or your dog or your cat, unless they're a wire-haired terrier. And then, so mezzo piano, moderately quiet, piano, quiet. 2 Ps, pianissimo, very quiet. 2 Fs, double forte or fortissimo, very loud, very strong. So I'd like to come back to mezzo piano here at 39. So you just write in MP, or cross out the F and put a P. And then we will crescendo at the bottom page, clear up to forte as written. So let's start there at 39. Here are your pitches. 2, 3, and. We're going to crescendo. Good. Let's look at that a second. Can I hear just the tenors and basses and altos? 39. A little slower. Our associate conductor with the Cherry Creek Chorale taught us a new word on Saturday, or was it Tuesday? It's tempo di lerno. We're going to do tempo di lerno. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those 2 notes are the same. I heard some people soaring through the Nice idea, but the sopranos are already doing that, so too bad. You don't get to. Like an eagle. Same 2 voices. 3 and 4. Like an eagle soaring through the sky. let's do it with the dynamic. Okay? Start mezzo piano. So that you've got someplace to go when we have a crescendo. And down. That's Birdie. There's a crescendo on the word heart, which you conveniently ignore in callous disregard for the musical wishes of Mr. and Mrs. Perry. And they shall never forgive you for that oversight. And I certainly shan't, unless you repair your damage at this moment. In other words, do the crescendo, okay? Virginia's over here looking at me like... Okay, repeat after me. I am so glad.
I am so glad
that I did not have to put up with this nonsense.
I did not have to put up with this nonsense.
Every day I went to music in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade.
Every day I went to music in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade.
They would just look at me and go. And the new kids, you know, it's okay. He's harmless. It's okay. He's harmless. Okay, I loved that mezzo piano. That was gorgeous. 2, 3, 4. Listen to the music. Stays forte. No breath here. No breath. Good. Now right there at the last note of 8, tenors and basses you'll split. So basses take the lower note. Sopranos. There seemed to be some difference of opinions starting at about measure 49. Could we have the sopranos at 47? The sopranos and altos. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that was a little less fuzzy. Da 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 da. There's another C. You go up to the same C. Okay. All right, everybody at 47, please. Still nice and strong. 3, 4. No breath. No breath. And good. 1, 2, 3. A little less. Forte. 1. I would rather not have the low octave. I'd like us to be off of the C. Now, let's do this with this divisi. At the last 2 bars, the high G is a small note, so which means it's optional. We've certainly got the people to cover it, but I would only like a very few people up on the high G. Okay, so what I would like the most of you singing the E. Because the altos are going to split, and some of them are singing the C, and the tenors and basses are singing a C. So we don't need much of the root. We need to hear the third. So how many of you are going to sing the high G? Okay, that's probably enough. If I need more, I'll let you know. And so now you've got a choice of the E or the C. How many of you are going to sing the E? Good. How many's going to sing the C? That's probably fine. Altos, could we do this? I'd like about a third of you. We have a little bit of dividing in the alto parts this time for a change. And just for jollies, let's make sure. Now, what did I say the other day? Did I have the seconds this way? Did I have the second altos in or out?
I don't think you.
Dan, do you remember what I said about the second altos?
Probably in it, because they.
I think I wanted the
us.
second altos
Yeah.
closest to the tenors.
Yeah.
So if we split and you're singing the lower alto part, be closer to the tenors, and then we'll put the higher altos on the outside. But what I would like here is about a third of you on the C and 2/3 of you on the G, because it's the only, that's the only time we really get that. So who's going to sing the C? Okay, and the rest of you are going to sing the G? No wonder it sounded so good. So let's just start right there at the fortissimo, the last 5 bars. Let and perfect. That chord is beautifully balanced. I hear all the different.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. Great. We've got time to sing it through once with the accompaniment. So beautiful reading. Beautiful reading. Why don't you stand up? What? Crescendo here, crescendo. Mezzo piano. Still forte, still forte. Bravo, have a seat. Whoosh. Okay, we don't have to rehearse that anymore. That's good. Would you look for a song for the unsung hero? while you're looking, we're doing this one for a couple of reasons. We already had it. We were going to do it in the spring of 20 and got shut down, and it has certainly become much more poignant for a couple of reasons. Number one, all the people who've been taking care of us during COVID. And the unsung heroes, like the people in the hospitals, and not just the nurses and the doctors, but the people cleaning and the food service people and all of those people. And then, of course, certainly the first responders. And then, of course, now we're just past 20 years from 9/11. So we just thought that it was, we didn't think about that. I didn't even think about that time, but I really wanted to include it just to be able to say thank you. And so we will formally dedicate it to all those people that work in grocery stores, food delivery people, all the people who are just out there just, busting their rumps for us. And I would like to look at a couple of spots first. As I was singing through, these spots kind of gave me, I had to look at them a little more. They didn't just sight read themselves. So I'd like to go, if you'll look over on page 4, in the top system, of course there are 3 systems on this page. In the top system, starting with the last 2 notes, as the faithful sang, I'd like just to hear the altos and the tenors starting right there. And we're just going to go through to Liberty. That's all the farther we're going to go. Tempo di Lerno. I love that. 1, 2, 3. Good, let's try it again. Tenors, nice job on the C flat. E flat, faithful sang before you. That's not the note we expect, so really enjoy it. Okay? And good, and thank you for getting rid of the R in Liberty. Altos, I need to hear those moving notes. Can we do it again? Yes,
On faithful, which note do we sing full on? Is it on the A?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You see the first 3 are there's a slur underneath the first 3. Yeah. Okay, and I really want to hear those moving notes, Altos. You're the only one with them. You and the pianist. And we go. Which one do you like better? As the faithful sang before, as the faithful sang. Which one did you like better?
The second one.
Follow suit. Follow suit. May I hear all persons in the room at that very juncture? The pickup to 29. Top 4, last 2 notes. And we go. Faithful. It was really smiley. I don't want it to be so smiley. Okay? You can be happy and be puckered up. I don't know about you, but when I pucker up, I'm happy. Same spot. Pucker up, altos. Give me a kiss. Go. Good. Now, believe it or not, that had more resonance and cut through, even though it was a darker vowel, it cut through the texture better than the other. Okay? uncultured vowel. We want a mature vowel, because you're all mature women. You're not some damn kid. You don't sound like a damn kid. And there's a very similar spot at the pickup to 59, which is over on page 7. The top of the page. So this is the pickup to the last measure, as the faithful. Same words, but we're in a new key. No, we're not. No, we're not. But it's a new place on the page, which makes it all new. Well, now in education, they have discovered that carryover of learning is really overrated. And especially kids that have a hard time reading in the first place, you can take the same words and just put them on a new page, especially in a new place on the page, and all of a sudden, it's all brand new. And the same is true of reading notes, okay? So, just because it's in a new place doesn't mean it's new, but it's going to seem new. Let's take everybody there. A mature vowel, please, Madam Altos. And we go. Short. The only difference there is that we've got to shorten because we're going to take a breath and go on, and we've got a little key change to take us into America the Beautiful. No, America. I always get those two mixed up. All right, let's go at the beginning. So sopranos and altos together, and then tenors and basses together. Until we're not. That knee flat. Yeah, right where you start. Sopranos and altos. 1 and 2. Short. Short. Pledging faith. You are also mature women, in case you hadn't noticed. Please sing accordingly. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies of the tenor and bass section, for singing a mature vowel. It is most appreciated. Altos, I felt no transgression on your part in that particular area. It seemed to smack me along this side of me. All right. Oh, I've missed you so. Pledging faith. Pledging faith. Right there where we stopped and I began to berate you. 1 and 2. So nice. No breath. Breath. No breath. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2. Short. Breath. Good for you. Off. Hang on to that note. Sing a song of liberty and hang on to the downbeat of 33. And sing a song of liberty. Short. Okay, right here, as I was restudying this, I became unhappy with having that dotted 8/16 rhythm there, because to me it gives short shrift to the most important word, which is one. Those united by one purpose. So let's turn that into 2 even 8th notes. So all you have to do is cross out the dot and then get rid of the extra little squiggly line there on the 16th note. Make it look like 2 8th notes with a smudge. A couple of smudges. Okay. Those unite, and corners in. Keep. It was really wide and bright. Keep. Pucker up. We will keep. 1 and 2. We will keep our voices strong. Do you hear the difference that makes? I mean, it just turns it into chocolate sauce. And chocolate ice cream. And chocolate covered almonds. And maybe some those nice little caramel cups that you can get at the yogurt place. It's just, and before it was just slightly rotten celery. I mean, it just makes such a difference. And you're capable of such a beautiful sound. Okay? So I shan't tolerate anything less from you. We will keep our voices strong. Pardon me, we will keep our voices. 1 and 2. We will keep our voices strong. I'd like to do something different. Can I fuss with this a little bit? And again, I will send you out a tutorial. And the way you'll find these. How many of you have been to the practice page? Oh, bless you. At the top of the practice page, you might have noticed a thing that says, click here for rehearsal videos and tutorials. So if you click on that, now when you go, you'll actually see stuff there. And they're just links. They're just text that are turned into links. If they're underlined, they're a live link. Okay? So right now I only have 1 tutorial, I think, and I also have a video to show you how to do the choreography in side by side, which we will get to. See, everybody say, oh goody, choreography! Oh boy. What the hell is choreography? So that's where those will be. And all you do is you just click on it, and you can hit pause whenever you want, and you just take your time and write all this good stuff into your score.
Well, why can't we do that in rehearsal?
Well, what if we do it 1 week and you were gone? Okay, of course, we do have the rehearsal, but what would you rather spend your time in here? With a pencil in your hand, marking your score, or singing? Singing. So we're going to sing. Sing with the practice thing. Practice your part at home so when we get here, we can sing. What I would like you to do, though, is we're going to, this crescendo, our voice is strong, we're going to crescendo to forte, and then I'd like to drop back to mezzo piano. It's not written in. I haven't gotten Mr. and Mrs. Perez's permission for it. I think it's rather stunning. Right at the top of 6, right where we ended, I would like us to drop back to mezzo piano for as long as we keep singing Freedom's Cry. And then we'll crescendo clear back up to forte. We will keep our voices strong. 1 and 2. We will keep our voices strong. No breath here. Crescendo. Sing a song. Short. So, sopranos, let's have all of the seconds stay down on my country, 'tis of thee, sweet land. You'll stay there. First, go up, and when it divides into 3 notes, there again, I would like a very few on the top, and about half of you in the middle, and then maybe a third of you on the bottom, but only a sixth of you or so on top. So, because in a 3-note texture, it's the middle note we never hear. Just acoustically, it doesn't work. We won't fuss with that today, but that's what I'd like you to aim for. We're going to go on at 80. Bottom of 10, bar 80. This is the next bar before I cut you off. And 1. The audience to sing America with us. Good. You sound great. You really sound great. And it's just the first rehearsal. Thank goodness. Yes, Melody.
I have another thing to add to this particular song. My grandson started West Point this year.
Oh my gosh. Melody's grandson started at West Point this year. Wow. We've got a few announcements for you. Your homework is anything that challenged you today. And then, and I'll send you an email, but I'd like you to look at your part in the songs that we don't sing through today. So Believe, and 8 Candles, and the Christmas song. Well, we are looking at the Christmas song today, but it's probably our most challenging piece, so you'll want to take a look at that. Excuse me. Grown-up Christmas list. Make sure you look at grown-up Christmas list, because we're not going to do that today. I was going to do it, but then I thought, no, I need to get started on Christmas song right away. So. Anyway, I'll send you an email. And the emails will include the first time through, or like this video that I'm taking, and things like that. But then all that stuff will go to the practice page. Those 2 practice pages. Is there something else I talked about on Friday that I'm forgetting?
Maybe just
I don't think so.
more specifics about the take note information about our concerts. Tentatively.
Well, why don't you talk to that?
Alrighty then. Okay. I'm going to revisit. We're going to revisit our take note sheets. Just for a minute. I mentioned that we had some dates on there. One of which references concerts. Concert for concerts. So we're very fortunate to have about the same number at Highlands Ranch as we have here. So we are anticipating doing 2 separate concerts. And we have the good fortune of having Grace Presbyterian Reserve. This is where many of us met in spring, on the west side of Highlands Ranch, for the weekend of November 20th and 21st. So that weekend right before Thanksgiving, we're very happy to have been able to get that space. You know, almost a holiday time, but not quite. We also have a date set for our performance, our annual, probably 6th annual at Tagawa Gardens. This year on Saturday after Thanksgiving rather than Friday the day after Thanksgiving. So you'll note that as well.
And the cool thing for your grandchildren, or your children who are interested in this sort of thing, is Santa will be there right after us. And so they'll have a lot more stuff going on than they usually do on Friday. And Lindsay said, well, if they would sing Saturday morning, it would really be cool. So she wanted us on Saturday morning.
Yes. I'd also like to thank our 2 wonderful helpers, Julie and Dan Meyer, who greeted you up in the lobby and made you hear music and probably answered a bunch of questions. But again, we'll have a a Q&A session after today if anyone has anything they want to talk about. So with that, may I introduce Steve? Okay. Steve Runkle is going to come up and just give us a bit more background on some of the health safety protocols that we're taking every week before and during your time here with us. So, Steve, whoa!
I'm working on a new entrance.
That's water.
This is just water,
Okay.
okay? This is just water.
Oh, it's water.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. I did get a chance to meet with a lot of familiar faces and some new faces coming in today, and appreciate it very much. I did get to talk with some of you about the sanitization and disinfecting process that we're using. And Brian and Cindy have been very focused on this from the time they decided to start making this whole program come back to life again. So what I'd like to do is just take a couple minutes and explain to you what we're doing here. And I came up with this quiet little piece of machinery.
That's why they didn't stay in the lobby, though.
That's right, everybody had to wait in the lobby. Anyway, about an hour before you arrived here, I went through this room a couple of different times and fogged it. And we use a product called chlorine dioxide, and I did talk to Brian. Brian, are you here? Brian? Yeah, there he is. Did actually recognize the type of product we're using. It's not bleach, but it is in fact probably the most effective and the safest sanitizing and disinfecting product on the market today. My company is Sanitize Now, and we use a 3-stage protocol to get this room as safe as probably any public space in the metro area today. So I'm going to tell you just a little bit about that. The first thing we do is fog the room with the chlorine dioxide, and that basically kills any of the pathogens, viruses, bacteria, molds, mildews, fungi, any of those kinds of things. And we make sure that all the furniture is completely disinfected before you come in here. That includes the floor and the counters and up here in this control room area. After we do that, we let it dry. We try to plan for about a 2-minute dwell time on the moisture. When it evaporates, that chemical is completely gone. So you don't have to worry about any kind of residual bad stuff that you do with some kind of disinfectants. Okay? Then we come in and I put out these little boxes that are hanging from numerous chairs, and some of you have probably noticed them. Hopefully they're not too distracting. But this product is one of our products from Sanitize Now, and it's called Safer Spaces. And it too is a chlorine dioxide disinfectant, and it is for the airspace. Because when we're all breathing, we're all exhaling, we're singing, there's these things called aerosols that are flying around. So we want to make sure that your airspace is as clean of pathogens as possible. So that's what these are for. And they do create kind of a cloud. You probably won't notice it, you probably don't smell it. And there's no electrical or battery power to this. It just works. It works very quietly and very effectively. The third thing that we do is this product, which some of you who were here before remember as Q8. It's now been rebranded as Skin Guard. And if you haven't had a chance to try this, I would encourage you to stop back. I have 3 testers on the back table. And just 1 squirt into the palm of your hands, rub your hands briskly together, rub your fingertips into your palms, and then with 4 to 8 hours of forward protection. To compare that to an alcohol-based product, your alcohol sanitizers give you at most about 1 to 2 minutes of forward protection, okay? So it's a very different type of product. No fragrance, which keeps everybody happy. And Brian has a little bit of background on this.
When early in COVID, of course, we were all washing our hands probably more than we had been used to. I developed, I don't know, eczema, something. The back of my hands just hurt. They were just raw. And Steve had me try this. And I'd been using Eucerin on it, and a special Eucerin for eczema. And nothing was touching it. My hands just hurt. and I put this on, and the very first time I put it on, my hands quit hurting. You described it as being kind of weird. I think it feels silky. It just feels really silky, and I just love the feeling of it on my hands. But I mean it. I mean, it solved this. They were red and raw, and immediately they were fine. So it's just amazing. So not only, an alcohol-based product would that felt good on the back man, but Steve tells me that I could wash my hands a number of times. What?
So they're saying 7 times.
7 times and
lab.
still have protection. So then you don't have to be. And it's not the cheapest stuff in the world. You can go and buy your little bottle of Purell or whatever for 99 cents, and that's good for maybe 6 or 8 applications. That bottle. Well, when I bought it, it was 20. They're selling them
We're
for half that right now.
half price right now.
But that's 200 applications. And I mean it, 1 squirt. You don't need 1 on each hand. Just 1 squirt will do it. And I've still got my bottle from, March or April of 20. And it's just, I love this stuff. Just love this stuff.
But wait, there's more. Right, Steve?
This is quite the team effort. So that's part of the payment, of course, comes back to the corral. We've made this deal, and we appreciate you being here for the commercial. But we think it's really important that you have a little bit of an understanding. It's just not a slam bam, thank you ma'am, kind of an approach. We have a very limited number of products that my company carries, and they're all exceptionally safe. And that's really, we want them to be very effective and very safe. So, thank you very much. And
Purchase, something comes back to you.
yes,
He said
every product purchased, and we do have these available in the back to take home. We've had one of these on our kitchen counter for the past year plus, and wouldn't be without it. So, if anybody. 2 sizes. Yes, I do have, this is the max version like you see in here. Normally this kind of creates a cloud roughly 12 feet, maybe to 15 feet in a perfect environment around this particular dispenser. In here we have them a lot closer together because we've got a higher density, and what we're doing here, we want to make sure we've got good coverage, okay? So we will contribute 20% of all of our sales back to the corral, so you're supporting the corral, you're supporting your safety, and we thank you very much.
That's good, right? For those of you that are new to the space, as you go out, by the way, they do request that we keep that door locked, this door that's straight out. You can leave that way, but when you enter, please come in through the main lobby and come down this way. But if you need to use a restroom, they're up the hall and to your left. Could we take a 5-minute break? And when you come back, we will look at how can I keep fixing it.